Namaskar and welcome to Pal Talk Machine Learning. I'm your host Dr. Chinmay Pal and I'm excited to have you with us today as we dive into one of the most elegant clustering techniques in machine learning, the Gaussian Mixture Model, or simply GMM.
And I'm Ria. If you've ever used K-means or DBSCAN, but felt the need for something more flexible, something that embraces the uncertainty of data, then GMM might be the algorithm you're looking for. Why GMM?
So, before we go into technicalities, let's ask, what is the motivation behind GMM? Most clustering algorithms treat data in a hard assignment way. Either a data point belongs to a cluster or it doesn't, like in K-means, where each point is assigned to a nearest centroid.
But in the real world, especially with noisy or overlapping data, sometimes a point might not clearly belong to just one group. That's where Gaussian mixture models come in. They provide a soft clustering approach, giving probabilities of belonging to each cluster. Understanding the basics.
Let's break it down. GMM assumes that the data is generated from a mixture of several Gaussian distributions. Each cluster is represented by a Gaussian, defined by its mean vector, that is mu, and covariance matrix, that is sigma.
And instead of just assigning a data point to a cluster, GMM says, let's calculate how likely it is that this point came from each Gaussian distribution, and then assigns probability scores accordingly. That's why it's called a generative model. It tries to model how your data was generated. How GMM works.
GMM works by estimating the parameters of each Gaussian in the mixture using an algorithm called expectation maximization, or EM.
The EM algorithm has two main steps. Expectation, E step, estimate the responsibilities, that is the probability that each data point belongs to each cluster. And maximization, M step, update the parameters, the mean, variance, and mixture weight of each Gaussian to best fit the data based on those probabilities.
These steps are repeated iteratively until convergence, that is, until the model stabilizes.
Strengths of GMM. So why do people love GMMs? Here are a few reasons. GMM can handle elliptical or non-circular clusters, unlike K-means. It gives soft assignments, which is useful when you want to understand the uncertainty of fuzziness in clustering. It's probabilistic, which opens up doors for anomaly detection, density estimation, and even dimensionality reduction.
Plus, it's widely used in speech recognition, bioinformatics, and even in finance to model returns.
Limitations of GMM. But every algorithm has its weak points too. With GMM, it assumes your data is actually a mixture of Gaussians, which may not always be true. It's sensitive to initialization like K-means. If clusters are not well separated, GMM can become confused. Also, it might overfit if you choose too many components.
And it's computationally heavier than K-means, especially on large datasets.
GMM in practice. In Python, using GMM is straightforward. The Gaussian mixture class from scikit-learn is what you'll use. Just import it from sklearn.mixture, specify the number of components, and fit your model.
And if you're working in R, there is the mclust package. Visual tools like AIC or BIC help decide the optimal number of components.
And yes, platforms like KNIME, Weka, and Orange also support GMM clustering without writing code.
Real-world applications. Some real-world applications of GMM include customer segmentation when behaviors overlap across categories, image processing for background subtraction in video surveillance, speech modeling, especially in voice biometrics, anomaly detection, identifying fraudulent transactions or unusual behavior.
Even in medical diagnostics, GMM can help differentiate between overlapping symptoms or disease patterns using lab data. GMM versus K-means versus DBSCAN.
Now let's compare. K-means is fast and simple but rigid. DBSCAN handles noise well and doesn't need the number of clusters but struggles with variable density.
GMM sits somewhere in the middle. It gives flexibility handles overlapping clusters well, and provides probabilistic insights, but it's more computationally intensive. Final thoughts. So friends, Gaussian mixture models offer a powerful and flexible way to cluster data, especially when the boundaries between clusters are not clear-cut.
It might take a little more effort to tune and interpret, but if you want to understand the structure of your data probabilistically, GMM is a beautiful choice.
That wraps up our episode on GMMs in Paltalk Machine Learning. We hope this session gave you clarity and confidence to explore GMM in your own projects. Do follow our podcast, share it with your fellow learners, and DM us any questions or topics you'd like us to cover next. Until next time, stay curious, keep experimenting, and happy clustering.